We're going to go ahead and get started. I will call this meeting to order. Dr. Thomason, can you do roll call?
President Reese, members of the board, please let the record show that we have all 5 board members present tonight. We thank you for being here tonight, especially when we know that we would all like to be downtown supporting our teachers, and so we thank you for continuing to be supportive to the Higley Unified School District and being here with us.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and have a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. We will go on to the approval of the agenda. I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Any questions or comments regarding the agenda? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Superintendent's report. Dr. Thomason?
President Reese, members of the board, at this time I would like to turn it over to Michelle Reese for one of my favorite evenings for the board. Michelle, go ahead and take us away.
Thank you, Dr. Thomason. Good evening, everyone. Governing board members, cabinet members, and of course everybody in our audience. We get to do our points of pride tonight, and we're really excited because tonight we're going to honor those staff and students from our littlest schools. So would Patty Gleason, our Director of Early Childhood Education, please come up?
Good evening, President Reese, all the members of the governing board, and all of our cabinet, Dr. Thomason, and members of the community. Stacy Utley and I are here to present, and very proud to present, our ECDC Points of Pride. I have to tell you, when I was growing up, my father always said, Patty, every day's a good day, but some are better than others, and today is one of those better than other days, for sure. So we're going to start with Cooley, and I would like Faith Leonard to come up here right now, please. She is our volunteer Points of Pride for Cooley. And would her family also stand up? Her family is here today as well. If you'd stand up too, and tell us who you brought today.
I brought my husband, Dave Leonard, and then my little Cooley Cougar, Grant Leonard.
I know. Well, Faith, again, very easy to choose for our Points of Pride for Cooley. I knew from the minute that I met her when I toured her last spring that she was ready to go into volunteer, and she made that known. She has been a wonderful addition to our PTO this year, and again, she relies on her event planner background. She's created amazing birthday presentations for our staff and been a part of the planning of some wonderful family activities for our centers. So we're very, very proud. Not only that, but her son has type 1 diabetes, and she has been a wonderful advocate for that cause, even teaching Grant to teach his friends in school about it and to ask questions, and it's just been wonderful. So we're so proud to have you as part of our family. Give her a big round of applause, please. Okay, and then next I would like to honor Rebecca Hauserman. Rebecca, will you come on up, please? Miss Becca is our health aide at our Cooley Early Childhood Development Center. And Becca, who did you bring today? You brought a lot.
Yeah, I brought my parents, Pam and Jim, and then my boys, Carlos, Alec, and Jimmy.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your mom. She's wonderful. She really is. So Rebecca is our health aide, and we chose her for our Points of Pride because she goes above and beyond every day. Not only is she caring for all the little ones in our center, she cares for all of our staff as well. She helps in the front office when needed. She helps in the classrooms when needed. She's excellent at keeping everything organized and straight wherever she goes, and the training that she also does for our staff and our students as far as hand washing and all of those pieces as well. So she has just been an amazing part of our staff, and she's been with us for the last 2 years. Anything else? Because I know you're just... All right, big round of applause for Miss Becca. Okay, and this year, we have students as well, but I'm going to introduce their teachers because, first of all, each of the students that we're honoring today are in the classrooms of the teachers that we're honoring today. So that worked out really, really beautifully. So I would like to call up Sarah Beimfor. She is our kindergarten prep Mandarin teacher. And Sarah, who is here with you today? I know I see Miss Dawn.
I have Dawn and Mona and Carrie Burnett.
That extended family for sure. So Sarah, when I say Mandarin, she is teaching her Mandarin class this year. What she's been able to do, because we didn't have a Mandarin teacher that we were able to have this year, she has gone above and beyond finding Mandarin programs and things to be able to teach the children. We've had volunteers come in and she's worked with them to work on curriculum and teach them. And the children have been doing an amazing job. They were part of the Mandarin program that we had back in February. And again, they did a beautiful performance, and I think our little one stole the show there. So it's been wonderful. And she is part of our Week of the Young Child team and preparing a wonderful event. Speaking of, I know I gave you invitations tonight, and we've made a mistake. So Cooley's is the 10th, and Sauceman's is the 13th. So we would love to see all of you there, and Dr. Thomason as well, please. So she's been vital in preparing for that, and it's just been wonderful. We couldn't be happier. Sarah, every time I ask for something, you are the one who steps up and helps out, and you've just been a wonderful member of our team at Cooley. So we're very proud of you. So our student of the month is Vi Lee, and she's not here, okay? Yes, we need to talk about her.
Okay. My student, Vi Lee, she's come from an immigrant family that came from Vietnam. And when she came into our class, she spoke very little English and was very shy and very withdrawn. And she came not only into our English class, but also our Mandarin class. She has learned so much, not only for English, but also Mandarin. This is her third language that she has learned. She has flourished. She is amazing, has exceeded every expectation, and we are so proud of her. She's so ready to go on into kindergarten now. And so even for her family is working so hard, and they're even working tonight, and they were trying so hard to get someone to cover so they could come. But unfortunately, they weren't able to because they're working so hard for her. So, but, oh, we are. Yeah.
And we have a special book, and the books that we chose for our students today, too, are Clifford's Good Deeds. So they'll get that book as well. So this is our Cooley team. Do we want to take a picture with everybody? Oh, okay, all right, sounds good. Let's take a picture with the Cooley team. now for our Sossaman preschool. I would like Paula Kwiatkowski to come forward, please. And she is our volunteer, actually our... So Paula, oh, no worries. Paula is our PTO president. You get the first one right there. And she has a son in the middle school as well. So this woman has been so vital in keeping our PTO going. So she's the president, and then we have the PTO spans over both of our centers. So she takes care of all that preparation, and she's getting things all organized for us all the time. But she goes above and beyond because not only, again, helping the children at our center, but her, like I said, her son is at the middle school. She's arranged to have the middle schoolers come and do community service at the preschool. So every morning she is there at 7:30, having students sign in from the middle school, and they're sweeping our playground, they're cutting out projects, and doing all the things like that. So again, she has been the person who started this and has kept it going. But it's because of her guidance and leadership that our PTO is what it is today. So I know that you had to come by yourself today because husband was working, and so we're all gonna give her a big round of applause. And we found out that there's been some flowers delivered for her today. I know. So our next point of pride is Tracy Robinson, and I don't see her here. She's one of our aides at Sossaman Preschool. She's in one of the STARS classes. Tracy is an amazing woman. She is a single mom. She devotes herself so deeply to our centers. Falling in love with those students is so easy to do, but she takes it to the next level. She actually provides respite care for students over the breaks and in the evenings and on weekends, and just helps in whatever way she can. She's another one who just, everything that you ask of her, she's so willing to do. And I'm sorry she couldn't be here for you to honor her today, but we'll wish her well and give her, oh wait, here she is, come on. What an entrance. We're just talking about you. Oh my gosh, no worries. You are so welcome, my dear. You are so welcome. We're gonna have you come, you're gonna come here. Mm-hmm. I know. All right, and so next, our teacher point of pride at Sossaman is Miss Rosemary Gonzalez. Ms. Gonzalez, come on up. Very good. And you brought that's your daughter? No. Yes. Oh, okay. All right. Tell us. In preschool, we're always finding new ways to teach things and being creative. Every idea I have, Rosemary takes it to the next level. She has we're working on the Reggio method in our schools, taking the outside environment and bringing it in and more natural things. Rosemary, over the summertime, went on a vacation with her family and photographed natural items that every alphabet letter and every number that you can imagine. So she had them photographed and then brought those into the classroom. She's collected items all over that she's brought into the classroom again to make it a comfortable and warm place, and it's just a better place for children to learn. She is always using conscious discipline in the classroom as well, and just, it's been amazing to have her as part of our team. So we couldn't be happier that you're part. And I'd like to recognize her now. And I see our Vi is here. So can we just bring her up afterwards? Okay, sounds good. All right. So Camden Tadrick is our student that we would like to recognize. Camden, come on up. Give a little hug. Camden, who did you bring today? Do you want to tell us who's here? Oh, you don't want to say? Well, Camden's family, please stand up and be recognized as well. This young man is pretty amazing, and Miss Gonzalez would like to tell you just how amazing he is.
Everybody? All right. All right. Let me gather myself. Camden. All right. I'm just going to read you what I wrote. Is that okay? All right. In my many years of teaching, I have met and worked with many gifted and talented students. And every so often, you come across a student who is amazing in every which way. And this person is Camden Tadvik. Academically, he is always doing exceedingly well. He takes his education at a very early age very seriously. And Camden glows with confidence, and not in an arrogant way, but in a noble and gallant way. He protects those that are defenseless, those that are different, physically or mentally, and those that are wrongfully mistreated. He is a compassionate person and cares for those that are lonely and hurt. He accepts challenges of every kind and applies extra effort to accomplish his goals. He models good sportsmanship and positivity and is an inspirational to those around him. And Camden has a good friend who at times has trouble speaking words clearly and at times needs wait time to think of the words he will say. In the beginning of the school year, as they became friends, Camden took him under his wing immediately, protected him, and stood up to those students that teased his friend. And what I love is the friendship they have built since then, and the encouragement he has given his friend to not be afraid. And ever since they have become friends, I can see the glow of confidence growing in his friend as well as those that hang around him. Camden is a natural leader. He is strong and wise at his young age, and his friends respect and admire him. I witness where the kids huddle together in a circle, and Camden gives them a pep talk before they head out to do their play of sorts. I admire seeing how at the end of their huddle, he has all the kids put their hands in the middle and chant a positive phrase or word. Every time I see Camden, he is always coaching, guiding, leading his friends to do something positive or creating something extraordinary. In his positive well-being, he shows compassion and empathy for those that are lonely or hurt. And countless times I have seen Camden get kids that are shy and lonely to join him in play or work on a project. And many times I've witnessed him care for those that are emotionally hurt or injured, and even try to attempt to carry his friend. He has a heart of gold. He does. Camden has this wonderful ability to accomplish anything he puts his mind to. He is always looking for a challenge, whether it is academically, creatively, physical ability, or behavior-wise. If he fails, he does not get upset or give up. Instead, he models good sportsmanship and applies more effort to reach his goal. I yet to see him give up and surrender to any challenge that is put in his way. Many great people with this gift have become great leaders, speakers, or people that millions admire, and these people have changed the lives of many and made a difference in the world we live in. I know he is young and still has lots to grow and learn, but I strongly believe and can see that one day Camden Tadvik will grow to be one of those inspiring, great people when he grows up and will make a difference in the lives he touches and the world we live in.
Well done. Beautiful.
I know, you're fine. I know. Yes, she always knows all about that, I know.
So proud of them. I know. So proud.
Is that okay? Yes, because parents, I'm so glad. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, oh, absolutely.
Good, we'll do that. And then if we could have Vi Lee's family come on up, and Vi. Hello, precious girl. This is our Vi. Could you please give her a big round of applause? Thank you so much, precious girl, for all that you do. We're very, very proud of you, and I know Miss Sarah has something to say real quick to you, too.
As I was saying, this is our Vi Lee, who we are so proud, who not only came into our classroom first knowing very little English, and now not only has she learned so much English, but she's also learned her third language, which is Mandarin, in our class. She is an amazing student and has worked so hard to be able to help all the other students around her, and has just made all of us very proud, and she is so ready to go into kindergarten for next year.
Thank you.
President Reese, members of the board, for upcoming events, we do have our final quarter, which gets busy, and so there's lots of things coming up. A first reminder that Friday, March 30th, will be our spring holiday, so there's no school. Then on Wednesday, April 11th, we have our Business Partners Breakfast in the governing boardroom at 7:30 a.m. You're all welcome to come to that and bring a business partner. Then Wednesday, April 11th, we have a brief board meeting with a work study here in the the boardroom at 6 p.m. And then on Thursday, April 19th, we'll have our breakfast honoring our top academic seniors from Williamsfield High School here in the governing boardroom at 7:30 a.m. And then Friday, on the 20th of April, we have our breakfast honoring our top academic seniors from Higley High School. So we have both those breakfasts coming up at 7:30 a.m. here in the boardroom. Then on April 25th, Wednesday, we'll have our awards for our board business meeting and then our governing board meeting at 5:30. And then the event of the year is coming up, our Teacher of the Year Awards on Thursday, April 26th at the Doubletree Elegante at 6 p.m. So we hope you can all make it to those. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we are getting ready to head into a really busy time. Mrs. Reach, as you can get ceremonies and awards and things like that, as you get the information from the schools, can you make sure that we get them so we can make sure we have board members in attendance? I know there's a lot of concerts for the end of the year, award ceremonies for both middle school, high school, elementary schools. So as our board members know, life is about to get busy. So as soon as we get that, please communicate with Mrs. Reach so they know what board members are attending what, so we can have board representation there. And before we know it, it's going to be graduation. All right, board comments. I think like Dr. Thomason had stated, I'm sure we would love to be down at the Capitol supporting our teachers and fighting for more funding for education and for our teachers. So we are very supportive of that. That's all I have. Mr. Ratovich?
Sure, I'd just like to give an update that President Reese and myself visited 3 of our elementary schools this last week. It was Centennial, Horror Ranch, and Coronado. We visited the media centers as well as the library and had delightful conversations with the faculty and staff at those buildings. And it's nice to talk to students about jobs for the future and careers for the future with this new generation coming on board. And I know we're talking about things like we were blockchain engineers for the future, etherrhythm developers, consensus algorithm coders. Those are the jobs for the future that we're preparing our young people for. So it's good that it's nice to see the things that are taking place in our elementary schools, and I'm very proud of what's taking place. So thank you.
President Reese.
Mrs. Kaler?
I could just add a little bit to that. I saw a movie, Dr. Thomason and I attended the movie Screen Agers on Monday night at the Queen Creek Performing Arts Center, and so much of it was emphasizing how we're giving these kids these phones with social media and not teaching them how to be good digital citizenship. And so I just love that our program in our elementary schools totally covers that, and hopefully they'll start to learn that early on those digital footprints kind of stay with you forever.
President Reese.
Mr. Clever?
Thank you. You looked like you were going to say something. Did I interrupt you? You're too kind. Thank you. Well, I just wanted to mention that I think everybody in here knows, but maybe somebody that happens to watch this might know that the Proposition 301 extension passed in a bipartisan way. Only a very small handful of representatives and senators voted no. And that really is a big help to what we do, because if people don't know, it would have been thousands of dollars from every teacher's paycheck that would have just disappeared, and causing to an even greater stress on our system. So I just wanted to give a shout out to any teachers who might see or hear for standing up and setting a good example of citizenship, civic involvement and civic engagement. And I'm really glad that they are recognized, starting to be recognized for the good, hard, honest work that they do. So that's all.
Thank you.
President
Mr.
Reese.
Thornock?
It's been over a month, but back in late February, the Bridges Elementary had a daddy-daughter dance, and I had the chance to go, and it was very well attended. It was just an excellent event, a lot of fun. And I missed the last board meeting, so I didn't get a chance to share that, but I'm going to share it now. So it was just a lot of fun. So kudos to the administration there who put it on, and it was just a great event.
Thank you. Those are always fun. Not that I've gone, but. All right, any other comments? Thank you for mentioning Prop 301, Mr. Glover. That was big news yesterday. So then we will move on to request to speak to the governing board. And we value input from our constituents. This time has been set aside for anyone from the audience who wishes to address the board. Please remember, this is not an appropriate venue to evaluate, discuss, or criticize district personnel. Policy KEB provides a process for complaints about personnel. Speakers should be aware that false statements about individuals may result in civil liability. Members of the board may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38-431.01H, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, responding to any criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date. Please limit your remarks to 3 minutes. Mr. Gusick. Welcome back. We have.
Madam President, fellow board members, Dr. Thomason, all Higley staff, parents, taxpayers, and last but not least, students. My name is Joe Gusick, and I'm your lovable, slightly annoying American. I'm your education Lorax. First of all, I'd like to welcome you, Mr. Thornock. Thank you for doing this. You don't get paid, and neither do I. And I will keep coming and keep coming and keep coming, because education is the point of leverage. It is where our economy grows from and where everything stems from. It comes from a thought and an idea, and what I saw here tonight was those opportunities starting at a very young age to see those children do amazing things. So let me share something with you, and I'm asking you a favor. As you know, I go out to a lot of different places. In fact, after this meeting, I'm going to go to the Chandler Board meeting. I'm going to read a quote to you. Remember always that you have not only the right to be an individual, you have an obligation to be one. Eleanor Roosevelt. So when I go out to all these different meetings, and I don't just go to school board meetings, I go to LD meetings, Democrats and Republicans, when they let me visit. What I continue to hear over and over, the word is fraud. I had a conversation with EVIT. They had an audit that didn't go so well. I ask you, be an individual, but as an individual, be a community member, and make sure that nobody ever touches the honey jar. Make sure that you don't ever become one group that you kind of think, close a little bit of eye over here and a wink there, or give any excuse for any of this. We've had private schools been ripped off. We have charter schools been ripped off. Public schools, and even an ESA account was ripped off in Chandler. And I don't want to share all the details of what that woman did with those monies and the fact that we had to put her in jail. So I ask you, for every time I go out and I hear this, you don't know how long it takes me to talk to these people. Sometimes it's 30 minutes. Sometimes it's 60 minutes. I talk to somebody for 2 hours explaining our entire education system to them. So please, please, remind all of your employees and remind yourself, this is a privilege. If you touch it, you won't be asked back. I did not wear red, but I brought my hat. And I want you to know something. Sometimes the obvious is so obvious it's not obvious anymore. But I want you to know something. You always have red. It's in your veins. And so as you always say, as this says, red for Ed, each and every day you have it in your veins. So I thank you very much for what you do. I'll stay a little bit longer, but I have to travel to Chandler. I've challenged an elected official to show up and be at that board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. We don't have any other requests to speak to the governing board, so we will move on to our consent agenda. I move that we approve a consent agenda items 6.2 through 6.7 as presented.
Support.
Any questions or comments regarding the consent agenda?
President Reese.
Mrs. Kaler?
I just wanted to say thank you again to Dr. Holland. Dr. Holland, don't you love that? So sorry. Mr. Holland and Dr. Thomason. Going through the vouchers this month, there were some very large expenditures that I noticed. We had technology for our high schools in there. We had the food, we paid health premiums. There was just so many things that I saw that we are responsible for. And I just want to thank you again for always, budgeting so that we are not just desperate, that you plan ahead for these items. And I just always hear that, that you are planning for that, or we have this set aside. And I just want to say thank you again, because I saw those numbers and they make my heart skip a beat.
It's that time of year. Yes, thank you. Any other questions or comments on consent? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. We will go on to our action and information items. Board members received a monthly governing financial report for February of 2018. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Holland? With that being an information item, that is also available on our website and within the governing board packet. So anyone who wants to see the same monthly financial report we do, you're welcome to it. 8.2. I move that we authorize the Higley Unified School District Administration to conduct a financial review for the period of June 2009 to July of 2017.
Second.
Thank you. Also, I would just like to note, based on the review findings, the Higley Unified School District may choose to have a board executive session to consult legal counsel based on those findings. Any questions or comments regarding the authorization of the financial review?
No, but I just think it's an important task, and I'm encouraged that we're taking this step.
Madam President, I just would like to point out and call to everybody's attention that this is all the way through July of 17. So that is a credit to Dr. Thomason. I think the board is trying to be open and honest, and so that it's a long period. It's not just a small period. If you want to comment on that, you can, Dr. Thomason.
President Reese, members of the board, we thought it was important. I felt it was important to continue it through my superintendency, just to make sure that we're taking a look at year for year, comparison to comparison, in case there was any anomalies that might come up. And also, to be quite honest with you, it's the transparency of this new board and administration for the Higley Unified School District that wants to make sure that everything is out in the open.
Thank you. Obviously, it's information that's been brought to our attention as to why we are going back and doing this financial review. And I really appreciate your candidness to, like you said, have your superintendency money spent under your watch also reviewed and looked at to ensure that we, all of our expenditures are what they should be. So I appreciate your willingness to do that and the transparency.
President Reese, members of the board, it is my honor to go through that and make sure that we're being as transparent as we can for our community.
Thank you. And I'm sure we all look forward to finding out the outcome of that review. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. All right, we are going to go on to our orchestra update.
President Reese, members of the board, I'm excited to bring to you an orchestra update that was put together by some of our teachers and Ms. Sherry Richards. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to them.
If I can jump in real quick before you guys start, This is a follow-up to an initial orchestra presentation that the board had requested that we look at some other options for orchestra within our district. So I appreciate you taking the time to be here, and we look forward to it.
Thank you. Governing Board, Dr. Thomason, Cabinet members that are here. My name is Jill Skarrud, and I'm going to be one of the orchestra teachers next year. I will be at Cortina, Centennial, and Santan.
My name is David Jakes. I'm currently the music teacher at Bridges Elementary, and I do the early morning orchestra program for the whole district. Next year I will be still at Bridges, Power Ranch, and Coronado. Yeah, too many C words here.
A lot of C's there. So we're very excited about orchestra. As you know, the top 5 rewards for any music program is that 1, music rewards the brain, stimulates the brain, and improves self-esteem. 2, students actually learn to listen, important trade, as well as this helps them in learning foreign languages. 3, students do better in schools and have higher reading and math scores. In fact, in the SAT scores, students that have had music score 47 points higher in verbal and 43 points higher in math scores than non-music students. 4, music helps kids to grow up, to learn to think critically, problem solve, accept criticism, and express ideas. And 5, music makes kids nicer. They're less aggressive, more cooperative with teachers, and to each other, there's less hurtful sarcasm, fights, and racism. And all of this is wonderful, and it applies to all music, general music as they learn, as well as all the music through high school. But as string players, there's even more. String players develop brain areas that others do not. Other musicians develop unique brains, but string players often distinctive evidence of brain plasticity, the brain's ability to change at any age. This flexibility plays an incredible important role in our brain development as it makes new wires, those neural pathways. The enhanced sensory connection translates into improved comprehensive language and brain functions. The simple fact that you must engage your physical, mental, and auditory abilities when you're learning a string instrument stimulates increased cognitive ability. The string player's brain develops more in volume, mechanics of use, and perhaps heightened ability beyond music alone. Thus, to sum it all up, research has shown that the string player's brains are larger.
So we have decided here, it kind of started off with in a music teacher meeting about which grade levels to have orchestra. I know a lot of districts they start in 4th grade and go through 6th grade. Even here at Higley, our current orchestra program starts 4th grade to 6th grade. In order to fit with the special schedule and kind of make it as smooth of a transition as possible, we kind of came upon this compromise to start 5th grade and 6th grade. So this way, our schedule and how it's actually implemented into our schools is going to just kind of mimic the band program. So it should be a pretty smooth and seamless transition into that. So here's just a little rundown of, we just talked about the school sites. We're going to talk a little bit more about student recruitment, some of the books and materials and the curriculum that we'll be teaching, how we're going to hold the students accountable, and of course the instruments, because that's kind of important too. We gotta have something to play.
So for student recruitment, we've found a video by Scott Lang, which is called Be Part of the Orchestra. It's very excellent done. We are going to be asking the general music teachers to please show that to their both their 4th and 5th grade students. We're going to have information at the elementary schools about our orchestra program, as well as at the District Fine Arts Festival on the April 14th. With that in mind, we're going to give them options to sign up for orchestra just as they would sign up for band and when each school's registration options.
And continuing on with the theme of just kind of ripping off the band program, they have a instrument petting zoo that they do every year. So we are joining them this year. A petting zoo, just like how your young kids might go and pet goats, they get to come in and check out the instruments. So in the past, it's been all the standard, you know, the woodwind instruments that squeak, the percussion instruments that bang, the brass instruments that just kind of do a blurt kind of thing. Now they get to play the instruments that screech. So we're adding in those string instruments, and so that's going to be 2 days, actually, April 23rd at Power Ranch, April 24th at HTA. So they'll get to try them all out. That'll be another opportunity to get more information out to the students and get some of those forms coming out and back in so we can get kids signed up.
Curriculum that we'll be using, we're going to use the Essential Elements for Strings book. It's readily available in our local schools for our students for under $10. We're going to use that to match our state standards, which have recently been changed in 2015 to be much more rigorous, and those standards include creating, performing, responding, and connecting. And so we will be using that book to reach those standards within our state.
And there's the standards that Jill just mentioned that's all covered in the book. Along with that book, there are several, there we go, I gotta use that right grammar. There are several different other types of materials that the students are gonna need. Obviously the instrument, and we'll talk later in a minute about the different ways that they can get an instrument, but with the instruments, there's the shoulder rests and the rosins and the cello end-pinned leg. A lot of these things, the music stores in the area put together small little packages. I guess I should put the right slide up. There we go. They put together small little packages that are about $20. So between the $20 starter kit, the $10 book or so, usually the rentals are a little bit about a month, or it's usually a monthly charge, or if it's through the school, there's a yearly charge for it. But as far as cost goes for the students, it's usually about $50 or so at the beginning of the year, and then depending on the rental contracts that they have. So it's a little pricey to be in orchestra, band, all these kind of things, but it's definitely something that a lot of the families look forward to, and we can find different opportunities to get those things for them. Next.
So with that accountability, not only are they going to have those, and we're going to make sure that we're accountable to our music standards. Of course, then that includes keeping the students accountable through grades, performances, and, you know, parent contact if need be on behaviors that might not be appropriate, as well as those behaviors that we want to recognize and reward.
So regarding grades, we're going to stick to what the specials teachers have been doing for as long as I've been in the district anyway, and that is the 5th graders still on the 1 through 4 level for their report cards, and then the 6th grade with the letter grade. It'll be left up to the individual teacher to how they want to actually grade their kids and evaluate, but there's definitely going to be those playing tests, written tests, note reading tests, all those kind of things that we cover. On top of that, just the preparation, because if you don't have your instrument there, it's not going to be very successful. So all of these things kind of go together to help keep those kids accountable there. If not, that's when we talk to the parents.
One great way that I actually already use, and I've used for several years, to keep that contact with the parents that we find too, as we know we will be traveling, and it works very well, is to use the Remind app. It comes across for a lot of parents just as a text message. They're able to respond back to the teacher right there on their phone. They don't have to log into email or use data if they're out, because it'll come right through to their text, and it allows for those reminders of, don't forget the concerts tomorrow night, don't forget the concerts tonight, your child needs to be, as and all those different ways, just as general reminders, as well as just the chance to increase communication with parents.
And finally, we get to those instruments. There's a few different ways that kids can get instruments. Probably the most common and easiest for our sake is for them to go out and get their own. And like I said, a lot of the music stores generally have relatively low monthly fees for rental fees. That's the route that most kids, probably 70% of them, go. Those that don't go that route have a couple other options. The Higley District does own quite a few string instruments. As far as what we have now, we've actually got extra for what we need just for our morning program. So we'll get those separated up, and it'll be kind of among the teacher's discretion as to which students are going to receive those. You know, we consider financial need, we consider a lot of different things of just which are the kids that are going to get these. When we do run out, which in a first year, honestly, that would be a good thing if we run out of instruments, because that means our numbers are up and growing already. When I was teaching in the Chandler district, one of the schools I was at had a connection with the Desert Sounds Instruments group, which they are a nonprofit that help families in needs get instruments for their kids. One of their biggest things is string instruments. I was a band teacher back then, and we had band instruments, but now their focus seems to be more on strings. So that's definitely something that we are going to be looking into and getting set up with them again for those kids that this might be their only way to get the instrument. And with that, we just want to say thank you. Thank you again to the board and cabinet, Dr. Thomason. I took on this morning orchestra gig this first year, or this year for me. It's been around for a while. But I took it on after our last teacher left for her baby and that kind of thing. And I took it on because I'm wearing red, I'm a teacher, I need more money. And that 1.2 contract was like, hey, looking pretty good. After about 3 weeks, I realized I don't need the 1.2 contract as much as these kids need a real orchestra program. We had a crowded, overcrowded room with kids that couldn't learn in the situation that we are, meeting at 6:30 in the morning, they're tired, they just got out of bed. So I made it kind of my own little 3-4 year goal to be like, I'm going to talk to these people at the district and see what can we do to actually make some change. And then Sherry just took it from there. And I can't believe that just a few months later, I'm already standing here talking to you guys about getting this program going in just the few months. So thank you, Sherry. Thank you, the board, and just everybody who's able to put this together. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I agree, Mrs. Richards, thank you. We did meet about this a couple months ago, and I want to acknowledge the recognizing our community's concerns and their desires for this program, our teachers, your board, that we needed to do something different. And thank you for taking it and running with it. I'm excited about this program and looking forward to see where it's going to go. But I appreciate you responding to those comments and questions on our orchestra program.
I would just like to say thank you for what we're doing here this evening and the presentation. Whoever did the PowerPoint, nice job. Okay, the two of you did, fine, perfect, okay. As I've been out and about in the community, I hear time and time again wonderful things about the orchestra program. And I hear, and I'm sitting in front and here, and I realize the person they're talking about tonight is Jill. And for the board members, Jill was in our district, what, 8 years ago, 8, 9 years ago, and she moved out of the district. Well, we have been truly blessed that she has moved back into the district. And under her leadership and with her fellow workers, that student teachers, that I know once again that you will take us to the next level that you did in the past. And we are so truly thankful that you are here with us this evening and take it there. I do have one request. You think we could do a Strolling Strings in the future? You know, a competition to the Gilbert schools or something in the future?
That was actually one on my radar that I've been thinking through, to be very honest. It's there.
Not right away, you know, maybe, you know, in the future sometime. But that's just, it's always wonderful to hear your music and your program. So thank you both for what you've done.
I'd just like to add again a thank you for all that you're doing for this program. I myself played cello for 5 years, but I dropped mine one time and busted it. I remember that. It was like, do you? Oh my goodness. I still have nightmares. It was like 4th grade. But anyhow, I was going to ask Dr. Thomason if you could just maybe share a little bit about how this is all being funded with us, please.
Thank you for bringing that up, Mrs. Kaler. President Reese, members of the board, we are fortunate enough to have a community education program with our after-school program that is helping fund the orchestra program at their elementary schools. And so we're using a lot of the funds from our before after-school programs, our summer program, and then our fall and spring program to help fund the orchestra program for our district. And if it wasn't for our wonderful community supporting our schools with our before and after-school program and our summer programs, we wouldn't be able to do this. So a very big thank you to our communities and our community education department for putting this together. Not sure if you know this, but Ms. Richards also oversees community education, so she's got a lot on her plate, and so she's been able to bring all this together.
Thank you so much, Dr. Thomason. I know, just sharing with our board this next week, I heard there's going to be a choir concert it's an after-school club, and just we need to, as a board, to just support those after-school events that go on as well, because I just see how important that is. Having those programs is now supporting this program. So thank you so much for sharing.
Madam President.
Mr. Glover?
So thank you both for all your hard, and it's great. So you know, lots of things got cut during the recession and with our overemphasis on standardized test scores. So I'm glad to see some of these opportunities coming back for kids. It's great. Can you just remind me how often would the kids? It was once a week that they would see you in 5th and 6th grade, or twice?
So at the beginning of the year, when we first had a lot of kids all in one room at once, we split them up so that the advanced kids, which were the ones that had played in 4th grade or 5th grade before, they were meeting on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so twice a week. The beginning group that had just way too many kids to fit in one room at once, we had to split them up into 3. So 2 of the schools were coming on Mondays. 3 of the schools were coming on Wednesdays. So they were only getting it once a week.
But now they will get it.
Since then, we've kind of pulled a few together and said, we've opened up rehearsals to all of the beginners now that we've kind of got it going and we can
Right,
fit
but
in the
for
room.
next year, I guess. For
Oh,
anybody who's
for
listening,
next
is what I'm getting
year,
at.
yeah. It's, from what I'm under the impression of right now, it's kind of up to the school site how we're actually going to run that. I know some schools might just do 5 days a week of band orchestra and then and not give those other specials the kids the opportunity to go to those other specials. If they choose band or orchestra, they're there for 5 days a week. Some schools do a 4-day type thing where they'll be in band or orchestra for 4 days, and then the one other day they'll go to another specials. Sometimes they rotate each quarter, so they do kind of get a little bit of that. Yeah, that is one of the compromises that even the kids have to make when they decide to step into this new world of music. Are they willing to give up those other specials times in order to have a lot of extra time in the music group?
Yeah, that's great for this kid. That's great. Thank you. So, and then going back to our strategic plan, Dr. Thomason, maybe I noticed we're talking about getting the word out, and so maybe Ms. Reese, I don't want to give you more work, but if you could put something together, if you haven't already, maybe you already did, that can go out. Maybe the principals can attach it in a newsletter just to get the word out about it and start generating some buzz, because I think it's important, and to also let our teachers know. I don't know how well the schools know that this is coming, but maybe something that they could do as well.
Absolutely, Mr. Governor. We'll also get it out on social media to make sure that it's announced as many different ways and opportunities that we can have.
Thank you. And one final comment. It sounds like we need still one more teacher. So if anybody's listening or knows somebody, right? I think, is that, no? Oh, okay. All right, that disregard. We can edit that off.
Okay. So we're in the process of interviewing for that individual, and they're doing reference checks. So I think we're this close, but we're not there yet.
Okay,
so.
great. That's good.
Thank you. And I agree with Mr. Glover. We have these beautiful marquees with the digital boards. We need to get them on there. You know, orchestra's back for 5th and 6th grade, and really get that out in our community that this is a big deal. And I know we look at some of our surrounding districts and we compare ourselves with some surrounding districts. Obviously, that's our competition. But I don't think people really understand there are a lot of schools and districts in our state that don't offer any type of music, that don't offer any art, that don't offer anything extra. And that's okay for those schools and districts. That's not okay for us. We have obviously an expectation in our community of having well-rounded kids, and we want to provide those opportunities. So we need to get that out there, that we are providing these opportunities. And we're proud to provide these opportunities and thankful that we have members of our administration finding ways to fund these opportunities. When we're not funded appropriately by the state, we get creative, and I appreciate that. So we need to certainly get this out to our community, that this is important to us. Mr. Thornock, I saw.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. As a brass player, I just want to know if I pick up a string instrument, will my brain grow still? That opportunity is there? Okay, good. That's what the studies say? Excellent. Well, thank you again. Just to reiterate what everyone else is saying, I think music is such an important part of what we offer as part of the whole education. It's not just from the books, but it's part of the entire offering that we want to make available to the Higley School and the Higley School District and the Higley students. So thank you again for all your efforts.
Thank you.
All right, we will go on to future agenda items. Do we have any future agenda items to request?
I think on April 4th or 5th, we're going on a school tour of the high schools, April 5th. So if any, Mrs. Reach will probably send an announcement out, but it'd be really exciting for all of us to take a look at what's happening in our high schools.
For Higley?
Yes.
Higley High School?
Yes, yes.
President Reese, normally we have like a little, like things that are coming up. Do we know what those are? Like, normally we have like, you know what I'm saying? When on our little paper, it will say featured.
In April, we will be having a...
Did I miss it?
Yeah, in April, we're having a work study for marketing.
Oh.
Did you find it? Is that what you were asking? Is what we currently have?
Yeah, like what's on the agenda coming up? Because normally we have those little bullet points, and it says like, oh, and I just wondered what some of the things were.
No, you're right.
Okay, never mind.
Yep. That's what she was looking for, what we've already requested that's coming up.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right. Anything else? All right. Well, if we don't have anything else, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Have a good night.